released.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah, I was working on the server side stuff that we were talking about last week, and
Hmm.
realized there's some work that I've been doing there that's unfinished, and I really just wanted uh, to get that out of the way so that we could get the server done in exactly the way it needs to be. And that work was separating the client from the server. So
Yeah.
actually, something that I'd started a year and a half ago now. Goodness, a while back. But yeah, um, one of the issues on the Jinaga repository, even before I moved it to the Jinaga organization. So back in the Michael L. Perry uh,
Hmm.
uh, set of repos, um, was that Jinaga didn't work in standard uh, standard configurations. So in particular, create React app,
Yeah.
and that's because it brought in a bunch of server-side dependencies that, when you're using it as a client, aren't important, but the dependencies are there and they're causing problems. So so yeah, I had been thinking about this for a long time. Started down that path and just decided, okay, I'm going to finish that work. But as it turns out, that is going to be a very important capability for the next round of experiments, where I send out little snippets of work, say, hey, do this one component for me using this one model, um, and so people should be able to uh, Docker create and then create React app
Hmm.
and be successful. So now that's all it takes.
So that means that now you have the server code in one repository, and you
Yes.
have, for example, a JavaScript client in another repository, a .NET client, and so on.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Okay. So that would make it a lot easier to understand, because now every time you have to import either Jinaga or Jinaga server or Jinaga browser, which was a little bit confusing
Mm-hmm.
to me at least.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, they are now separate code bases. The Jinaga server depends upon the core library, which is a client library, Jinaga, um,
Mm.
and uh, and um, so that core library exposes a whole bunch of stuff that is necessary for um, for
For both, for
other
client and for server.
for
Yeah.
everything, yeah. So so yeah, that yeah, looking at just the core code, yeah, you can ignore the yeah. There's no Postgres stuff in there. Um, what else did I extract? Yeah, there were a few things that are really just server side components, and then yeah, now when you look at the server side library, you only see those things, and then it references
Yeah.
Jinaga, and everything comes from there.
Okay. That's a very nice step forward. So we end up more like the way we were drawing it last time.
Yeah, yeah,
Really like components.
yeah.
I did clean up the thing a little bit. Wait, let's share that again. Start a session. Or was it share? No, I just need to copy it. Copy, and then I will paste it to you. Message. Okay, I send the link to you.
Okay.
Did
All
you see it?
right. Yes, I see the link.
Yeah, yeah, I see you.
Okay.
You got it.
All right.
Right, let me put that on the same screen, because otherwise I'm always looking sidewards. like this now. I see the diagram and you on top. That's better. So you see my cursor?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So here on top we have the Jinaga Management Studio, but you said
Mm-hmm.
JMS is already in use. So I thought, why not keep it broader and make it Historical Modeling Management Studio,
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
HMMS,
Yeah.
which is SQL Server Management Studio. It's about a server, but it's actually an application that allows you to experiment with historical modeling.
Yeah.
So I don't know which one you prefer, or still another one.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, HFMMS has my my nod because that kind of makes it a little bit more clear that Jinaga is just an implementation of historical modeling, and there very well could be more in the future. I hope so.
Mm-hmm. So that has been adapted. So read and write, that's each time specification language.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is the Jinaga JS client,
Yep.
which is actually still using the old interface.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
the Jinaga.net, the client under development, with the j.subscribe, which will be based on the feed URLs.
Mm-hmm.
Then the native notifications, and then the feeds, the feed, the load, and then the old save facts.
Yep.
So the load is just getting a subgraph of facts.
Mm-hmm.
The feed, which is just a get with a bookmark and returns not the complete facts, but just the fact references.
Mm-hmm.
And then that feeds, that I forgot what it did.
Yeah. So that takes the specification language and gives you back the feed URLs.
Okay. So that gives you back these feed URLs to which you can subscribe.
Yeah. Yes. And those same feed URLs are the URLs you're using for that feed endpoint.
Okay. For this get.
Yep.
Okay. So let me add it. So returns the feed URLs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's way too big.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then it's bigger. Add an S.
Mm-hmm.
Shift that a little bit. And it more clear this way. What the hell is this?
Yeah, it looks like it's just overlapping the well, at least on my screen. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's better.
Yep, exactly. So you you call feeds, you get back a bunch of URLs, and then you can start a separate polling mechanism for each one of those URLs, and that's the feed URL. So you're saying, here's my bookmark for this one, and then you get back some fact references, and then loop around. And so then you call load with those fact references that you don't yet have, and then finally update your bookmark.
All right. So it's actually very logic. You start with feeds, then you go to feed, and then you go to load.
Yes.
All right. So perhaps this can be put in the documentation then.
Yep, I think it's ready. Yeah.
You save it on your site, or you want me to send you?
Yeah, go ahead and send a pull request. Yeah, so we've got this in the README for Jinaga.js. Is that right?
Yes, somewhere, but I think as a PNG. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I will have a look at it and I send it to you.
Okay.
Make sure I save
Yeah.
this. Okay.
Actually, I don't see. Oh, I think actually it's in the Jinaga.net repository. Documentation. Yeah, we've got the
Jinaga.net.
Excalibur in there. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's
That was SVG. SVG.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this. That one looks so tiny in comparison. uh, okay. Yeah. So I think we should also find a place to kind of surface that on Jinaga.com. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me think about how I want to organize this kind of meta information, this kind of project level stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, save it on your side so you have a copy of the original then. If you go higher, there is an export button. You have open, and on the right of it, there is export. And there you can save it as an Excalibur file. And to the right of that, you have save as a picture, as an image.
Okay. Yeah. So that should be. Okay, yeah. When I do the save as, I can't see the Windows systems for Linux stuff, but that's okay. I'll move it over there later. So in the meantime, I'll get it into the downloads. Okay, and then the PNG as well. Oh, we did SVG. Yeah, I'll do SVG. Because I can convert to PNG if I need to, but going the other way is much more difficult. Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. That is helpful not just to us to understand and document what we're after, but yeah, if other people are coming along and looking at this library and trying to get a sense for what are these people up to, what's happening here, I can give them a picture.
Yeah. What is Michael doing and what is Jan trying to understand? Yeah. Good. All right. So then this one I can close. We don't need to change anything on this for the moment.
Correct, yes.
Okay, then we stop this session. So then we just close this one. All right. Anyway.
All right, so we updated the roadmap. So yeah, I can do a quick walkthrough of the Jinaga 4.0 documentation and how to do create a React app. Are there any other things that came up from last week?
Not on my side.
Okay.
Not on my side.
All right. Well then, let's do a quick screen share. Okay, and now we've got. There we are. Yeah, now we've got the updated Jinaga.com. All right. So yeah, if you are at home and you hit docs, so far nothing needed to change on this this front page. All of this is still quite accurate, I believe. yeah, this image. Yeah, I'm still not sure if this speaks to people. This was kind of a hey, what's the value proposition? Like, typically you write custom code in 3 layers, but with Jinaga you write custom code just in 1 layer. So there's a lot more value that we're going for right now with the whole replicator thing. But so I'm kind of torn between updating this image to show replicators and building building out networks versus this simpler diagram. But yeah, I don't know. So that's just something that's happening in the back of my mind. But
because you should incorporate also the advantages of historical modeling.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this doesn't really talk about why historical modeling helps you to build apps faster, or indeed build things that otherwise would be very difficult to build. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just a seed to plant, so we can come up with something better there. But what has changed? If you go to docs, so it now takes you to the replicator page. So we talked about replicator, and we've got documentation for the write and the read. Actually, I think the last time I showed you this documentation, it didn't have the syntax highlighting, so that was a nice little addition. I had some fun sitting down and writing a Prism specification for the specification language, so that it can recognize the types and highlight those in 1 color, and then the roles get another color, and then all of your unknowns and your givens and all that stuff. So this just it looks like a real language now. It's something that you can just glance at and see there's meaning here. I don't know what the meaning is yet, but there's a meaning here.
No, it's easier to understand.
Yeah, good. So that was the week before. That wasn't this week. So this week I replaced steps. So I went through all of the steps that were up here, and a lot of them were, here's how you set up Postgres, here's how you set up Webpack, here's how you just do all of this extra stuff. And it's like, none of that is core to what you're trying to do here. So so even though that used to be necessary in order to get your first app running, it's no longer necessary, and it was distracting. So those steps are gone, excuse me, with the exception of the tests. So I moved the tests down, but now you get your replicator running. You can familiarize yourself with the concepts, and then you just jump into creating an app. And so you do so by using create React app. So there's the nice little documentation over there on how to do the create React app thing. So if you're not yet familiar with it, you can learn about it there. I'm not going to teach you about it here. And but I am going to give you the 1 line that I want you to run in order to create your application. In particular, because of this. I decided that for this first introduction, I am going to favor TypeScript. So the advantages, I think, of using TypeScript are important, in particular for understanding what is happening here. If you don't have TypeScript, then it's it's a little unclear exactly what kind of thing you're doing at each of the different phases. But with TypeScript, you've got that conversation going on. And if somebody is targeting just vanilla JavaScript, then they know what to do. They just drop that template, and then anytime they see type declaration, they just drop that type declaration. So they can understand that. The exception is here in create and define a model. And so actually this code, I haven't tried it yet, but this code should work in vanilla JavaScript as well. But I still have the JavaScript conventions. Okay, yeah, that's the difference. This is what you have to do in JavaScript because you don't have the static fields. You can just do, if I remember correctly, you can just do static methods. Yeah, so you got static function, but you don't have static field, so you have to do that yourself. But what I figure is if you're targeting JavaScript, you can figure out what the differences are. You don't want to confuse everybody by showing both paths all the time. So let's do a little example here. So I'm just going to create my application. Yes, please proceed. And so what's really cool about Create React App is that all you have to have installed before running this is Node. It brings down everything else. And so it sets up the Webpack stuff. It installs React and gets a server started, and even configures that server for live reload. So you've got a really good development cycle. Mm-hmm. So these are things that trying to do them independently takes a lot of research, and we've already gone through all that pain. But now there you are. You've got a successful application.
Yeah. So actually Nodemon and all these things are all automatically installed.
Yep. So let's go to my application in VS Code. I thought I updated you this morning already. Oh well. Okay, so now we're at the terminal, and it gives us instructions to do npm start. And then if we want to do more advanced stuff, we've got those things. But right now we are just looking at the npm start. But you can see in here, it's got, since we use the TypeScript dependency, it's got all of the types declared for Jest and Node and React. Yeah, it also installs Jest. So it's like, okay, I just can start building my tests in here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so it's not using Nodemon. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it's a pretty simple, pretty small set of dependencies, and since it set it all up, it's already got the Node modules. You don't have to do an install or anything. Just npm run or npm start. Sorry, start. There we go. And we've got Create React App. So let's do this little side-by-side demo, because that's always a wow moment the first time that you show it off. So we've got our app that's app.test.tsx, app.tsx. So right here we can edit this code and save and say Jinaga 4.0 is cray. So save, and there we go. So I didn't have to pop over here to do the reload. So you've got that nice developer experience, and that's all pretty cool. So then I'm going to stop this so that I can do an npm. Oh, well, I should probably actually look at the instructions. What do the instructions say to do next? Install Jinaga. Okay. So let's npm install Jinaga and Jinaga React. And presumably we've already run through our replicator. So here it connects to the replicator. So let's make sure that we've got the replicator running. Yep, the blog replicator is running, that we started 2 weeks ago. So let's just connect to that. So I'm going to come in here, create a file called Jinaga config.ts. And there we go. So we are importing Jinaga browser and then creating a browser with the endpoint being 8080 Jinaga. Even though Create React App is doing 3000, 8080 is where the replicator is running. So we've got that going, and now we can define a model. So here is a reminder of what you did when you added stuff to the replicator. You created a blog site with some blog posts using the site as a predecessor, and then some post titles. So all that's in there. And if I still have Postman, yeah, I sure do. This was where we ran that, and we set up those facts, and then we could read those facts back and see that the title is Jinaga Replicator Advanced, all from 8.11. So all that stuff is in the replicator, and now what we need to do is define a model to map to those facts that we've already put into our replicator. So you can walk through these instructions and understand what's going on with modeling. So here we say create a folder called model. And then do a site.ts, and there's our site. Nice and simple. And then we've got a post. So post is a little bit more complicated in that it has a predecessor in the site. So let's create post.ts. And now we've got a post that references the site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all that's good. Let's go ahead and start the CRA again. Start up the server. Okay, there we are. Okay. Now we need to initialize a starting point. So we know what a post looks like, we know what a site looks like, and we have a connection to the Jinaga replicator. And so in order for us to grab information from that Jinaga replicator, we need to tell it where to start. That is related to this given right here. We need to tell it what the site is. And so we've got this function called makeSite that I want to add to app tsx. So there's makeSite. Now J comes from Jinaga config, and site comes from the model. So we've got those imports. I could have copied them from right there, but that was more fun. And then now I want to initialize some state based on this particular result, because this function is asynchronous. It returns a promise of site. We want to be able to call that asynchronously, and to do that we need to be able to update state once it completes. I went ahead and made this asynchronous, even though I could have done a synchronous version that just returns this hard-coded value, but I knew that at some point in the future you weren't going to be hard-coding this anymore. So I want to set you up for this is the pattern that you're actually going to be using in your real application, not just one that works for a demo. So we are doing a use state in order to create a state variable called site, and it's of type site or null, and we initialize it to null. And then use effect is going to call make state, get back the promise, and then when it resolves, call set site. So it sets the state variable. So that is pretty familiar React territory. So I don't go into it too much, but explain a little bit what's happening there. And then, now that you've got your starting point, we're going all the way to the other end, to the other bookend, and we are starting with a component. So here I wanted to declare just the minimal component to make this work. So let's create a component called site container. And so I want to do that inside of a new folder called components. And now we've got site container.tsx. Okay, so we start with a site specification. So why is it not able to figure out what D is? Yeah, I'm not sure why it's complaining about that. It should know, because of field, that D is a site. This is specification for site. Okay, let's keep going and see if it figures that out somehow. Or we can do something like this. Let's do reload window. Nope, still complaining about it. Yeah, I don't know.
If you build everything again?
Yeah, the build should be happening on the back end, so I'm going to do npm start, and that's just the development server and kind of a live rebuild. But yeah. Oh, okay. Could not find a declaration file for Jinaga React. Okay, that's what the initial cause is. Jinaga React has its types built in. So let's pause here and investigate what's going on. Okay. So let me bring open node modules, Jinaga React, package.json. There we go. So now we are inside of node modules over here, and we can see what the package.json looks like. So it's got types in dist types index dt. Okay. I didn't fix that. Dist index dts. Aha. There we go. We found a bug in Jinaga React. Hey, excellent. This is cool. Let's fix that real quick. Later. All right. Jinaga React. And let's make sure that I've got the latest here. Yep, and that merges the... Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Way behind. Oh, I don't have... All right. let's drop those changes. Okay, so, oh, peer dependencies, this should be, oh, there's another bug right there, goodness. What kind of show are these people running? This is, all right. Okay, so this very last one was the, no, this is still, I thought that, okay, maybe I did not push the latest Jinaga React from my laptop. I didn't push it to the repository. Let's confirm. Here's Jinaga React, and the main branch. Yeah, I was hoping to see a history over here. Well, yeah, main branch. Oh, okay, this one says 4.0 2 days ago. What's going on here? Oh, I think I know what's happening. If I took a look at remote-v, this is still looking at Michael L. Perry Jinaga React. Okay. Get remote set URL of origin to yep.
Jinaga. Yeah.
That guy. Okay, here's some good new code. So let's pull that down. Oh, can't fast forward. Interesting. So I've got some things. I'm going to drop a branch here. And then I'm going to reset hard to origin main. Okay. Now we have 4.0. Perfect. Okay. Peer dependency of Jinaga. It works with 2, 3, and 4. It works with React 18 now. Updated that peer dependency. There were no changes necessary. I just tested it with 18 and said, yep, still works. Okay, so the thing we're here to fix is just this index DTS. So if I take a look at the dist, let's do a, yeah, this was another thing that that I did during this whole week is, you know, notice the dist folder right now just has index.js, this big old long blah pack, and then the source map, and the types was this subfolder, and that's because I was using Webpack in order to bundle up the Jinaga and Jinaga React client-side libraries. But then you got to realizing that I don't need to use Webpack for for the libraries. The consumer is going to be using Webpack for their application, and that's going to bring in all the source code, so and package it the way that it needs to be packaged. So if I just use TSC, so now the build step is just TSC, then it does the right thing. So let's do npm run clean, bye dist folder, and then npm run build. Okay, and now the dist folder looks like this. So we've got all of our code broken out into just the JavaScript compiled version of the code, and the source map for just that file, and then the types. for just that file. And so yeah, index just exports a whole bunch of names from deep inside, and so this works really well. But the thing is, this d.ts file right here is now in the dist folder, not inside of a types folder, and so that's why I needed to do that. So let's do this live. This is awesome. Okay, so we're going to do first of all, move types pointer to top level and straight into main. Why not? Okay, and then we're going to do npm version patch. Now this is version 4.0.1 of Jinaga React, and npm publish, because that's what we do. We just publish to npm on a live stream. Okay, one-time password. Ta-da. So if anybody wants to hack my my package in the next 30 seconds, that's the number that you'll need to use. Okay. All right, so we've got that up there. Sync. And so we have a brand new version of Jinaga React, and it has the proper types. So let's come on back to here and npm update Jinaga React. Let's see if it's going to pull down the new version already. Let's see, I don't think it actually did, so let's just tell it specifically what I want. npm install Jinaga React at 4.0.1. And I'm looking for that to go away, but it's not going away. Okay, it might take a little bit of a round trip to get through the npm publish. So we did that. Yeah. And then here we see 401. Oh, wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong one. Here we see 401. Oh, okay. It did update. All right. Good. Good. Now, let's get back to what we were trying to accomplish. And that was this here and this here. Let's see if we can do npm start. It's not doing the squiggly here, so that's good. And it starts up. Okay, woo! We fixed a problem on the stream. That's kind of awesome. Okay. Where were we? We were about to declare a component. Okay. So we are in, we just did the site specification. So that's the specification for the site fact. So starting from site, we're going to pull out the domain and make that a property of this specification. So this is the projection part of it. And then the next thing to do is to map those props to a React component. So we've got a React component that takes domain as a prop, and it knows that that's a string. It knows that's a string because up here in the specification we said it's a field taking the site fact to the domain field, which is a string. So all that type inference comes through. And nice thing is that type inference even works if you are just using JavaScript here. The fact that there's TypeScript behind it is still helping you. So that's pretty nice. And then finally, we want to create a container around that mapping. So that that takes your mapping of this specification to the component that just displays an h1 with that domain name, and turns that into a container component, and it's just doing a default export from site container, which means that in app.tsx we can import it like so. In fact, let me let it generate the import because VS Code does a good job of it. This part right here is really all we are after, is take all that stuff that Create React App did for us, and now let's do our site component, and fail. All right. Okay, maybe it doesn't do a good job of that. But yep, the site component is coming from, that's the problem. It doesn't see, oh, site container is what I called it. Okay, documentation bug. There we go. So let me change this to site container. Yeah, the interesting thing about default exports is that when you import them, you get to decide what their name is. It's only by convention that I'm using the same name as the file. But yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about default exports. They seem to be the common thing to do in React, and so I'm doing it here. But the fact that that this is only a convention, that leaves a degree of freedom open, and if you do some refactoring, that could get broken. It's kind of,
yeah.
But at any rate, oh, what happened over here? So, yeah, I see this error a lot. I am not certain what it's. I'm going to have to figure out what the cause is with this kind of thing. So, so an expression right here on line 6. Yeah, but I'm supposed to be able to do that.
What are the two marks behind it?
Oh, okay, that's it. Okay. All right, now we've got a white screen of death. Okay, that's probably not a good good thing for a walkthrough. Okay. Well, let's do a little bit of fixing here. So first of all, I'm going to go back to jinaga.com. Make sure I've got the latest here. Okay. And then inside of Contents, Documents, Create an App, we were doing the initialize a start. No, we were declaring a component, and we did site container, and then later on site component. So that should be site container. There. Okay. Up that goes. All right, so we're going to be updating the website soon. Okay. So now the next thing is this this white screen of death. What was the cause of that? I know that will happen if the replicator is not running, because if we take a look at the network, okay, course error. Oh, okay. This is a replicator that that I started a couple of weeks ago before I added cores to the configuration. So, yeah. So anybody doing that from this point forward should be good. But let me just go ahead and stop this replicator and make sure it stops. Okay, and we'll just delete it forever, including the volume that was attached to it. So let's just take a quick moment and go back to a replicator and create a new one. And there we are. Okay. Pull down the latest Jinaga replicator. Yep, there's some patches. And create a new Jinaga replicator called my replicator. And now that is running. So now if I take a look at this, I should see, yeah, now, let's try that again. We're still getting course error. Oh, okay. Okay. I have not yet published the image updates. There we go. Okay, that's the problem. Yeah, I tested the image with cores enabled on the Mac, but I have a running checklist of the things that I need to do in order to make this a release, and updating the image kind of got pushed to the bottom, below documentation, because I forgot that cores was a necessary component of it. So that's where we are so far. So I think a couple of things I can do to improve this experience is that, first of all, I can add a little bit more to this component so there's not just a white screen, and so you can see something if something goes wrong like this. And then, of course, publish the new image. Yeah, and I like to give people a set of instructions for what to do when a problem occurs. So that's really great to do in an error message. In this case, there is no error message, so I might put those instructions right in here. Hey, you should see the domain show up here. If not, make sure that your replicator is running. Yeah.
That's definitely better than just a white screen.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So good. Glad we walked through this. Already fixed a couple of things, and in addition,
I think the fact that now we can use Create React app makes it much easier in combination with the replicator.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
On one hand, I find it a little bit of pity that all the documentation is gone.
It's still in the repository.
Yeah, repository, yeah. But it was quite interesting to see how all the different components worked.
Yeah.
But I think for somebody who's completely new and want to start using it, this is much more easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. The Postgres documentation will come back at some point in the future. So I wanted to start with the replicator, and then okay. So if you're not going to be using that replicator image, then here's a Postgres image. It's the one that the replicator is based on, and then you can install your own application into that, or you can run Postgres separate from your application if you want. But then, if that's not your setup, if you're actually running Postgres on the bare metal, then here's how you do the install. So people can get as deep as they want to. But yeah, what I think I want to do is have this be like the regular documentation section. This is what I want 90% of the people to focus on, and then there can be an advanced section, and that can have that kind of stuff in there.
So it's as easy as possible to start. If they want to go deeper, they have something that is working, and based on that, they can go further.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Looks like a real good idea.
All right. So a few little changes there, and then back to the feeds endpoint, so that we can get the Jinaga.net client connected to the replicator as well.
Okay. I think I still had a couple of changes there. The whole database stuff, the SQLite, I'm not sure that I already uploaded it to GitHub.
Okay.
It could be in my repository, but that I didn't do a push request. I will have a look at that.
Okay. Yeah, let me do the Jinaga.net repository, and we have I started a pull request that's still marked as a draft pull request for create a backing SQL database. And then from a couple of years ago was the initial pull request to deserialize the HTTP messages. So on the backing SQL database,
but there we have SQLite for the client.
Yeah, I'm looking at what was the history here. So yeah, the last commit to this branch was in December. So yeah, I'm not seeing any pushes from you to the backing SQLite database.
Yeah.
Or yeah, it is called backing SQL database, but it should be SQLite.
I think I'm even not sure that they were on my local machine. I have to check whether I pushed them to my GitHub, or I think I did, because otherwise they are just on the regular backup.
Ah, okay.
Don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, let's definitely check up on that.
I will find out, and then send a pull request over.
Okay. Excellent.
All right.
Very good, sir. So that's our marching orders for this week.
That was quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was probably the most productive session that we've had. It's like we got stuff done. Actually, I think the 2 or 3 sessions that we had where we did the historical model for DWS, those are still, I think, the most productive that I remember having on the stream, because that was a big back and forth conversation about how does the business work, and how do you most appropriately model the business. And that's the kind of conversation that ultimately I really want historical modeling to enable. So if we can just have those conversations and not even take advantage of the distributed system stuff, then we would already have a win. So.
No, but that model is finally going to be implemented
Yeah.
on top of Jinaga, and then be a real application.
Yep.
That will be nice. Did you hear anything from Caden so far?
I have not. No. I don't know how to get in touch with him.
Because he was not available on this point. This point of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I don't have any contact information from him, so I can't make sure that he's doing all right. But
isn't he on the channel? Wait, if we go to text channel, yeah, eating 555. That was Caden, no?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we can send him a direct message, but yeah.
It's quite a pity that he cannot follow anymore.
Yeah. So send him a DM as a ping, but I don't know if he's. Yeah, I guess that would lead to an email on his side. So well, let's see.
Okay. Next week, Michael?
Next week.
Yeah, next week I will be there, no problem. Somewhere
Excellent.
in September there will be a week where I will not be available. But
and I'm going to be out the week of September 12th. I'll be going to the Pluralsight Author Summit.
Yeah, that might be the week that I'm out as well.
Okay. Good timing.
I think from between 12 and 17 I will be traveling, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. I'm glad that the Pluralsight timed it appropriately. So awesome.
Okay. Michael, thank you very much, and see you next week.
All right. Thanks, John. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.